Yo, people, just back with the match reaction for the game. Just gonna go over the performance, how I felt some of the players did today, and obviously just bring you the graphics for the player ratings. Had to get some of them sorted out, which is why I started about 5 minutes later, but hopefully you guys are back in. Let's just wait and see what's popping. Overall, guys, when you tell me in the chat, how did you feel about the game? What did you guys think about the performance overall? There has been a lot of talk currently about how Manchester United has performed and, how Ten Hag is going to start to balance performance versus results. It's very important. A club like Man United, bro, we can't just be winning games. There's a way of winning games. And today, I can say for a fact, is the first time in a long time that United have gone out there and surgically dismantled an opposition team. We went out there and absolutely put Crystal Palace to the sword. We made them look like the team they are, which is a very underwhelming team. You could even say quite poor. This is a team that's lost the likes of Wilfried Zaha, and not the same team they've been over the last few years. Went out there and we proved that Manchester United are capable of playing football. And I know the inquest is going to be from a lot of fans. Wait a second. So we're able to perform like this without Bruno and Rashford in the starting 11. And they're going to put two and two together and get 22. So this is left to be seen. Will Ten Hag revert back to Bruno and Rashford on the weekend? I believe so. Am I happy with that choice? I think so too. Of course, then, if they go on to perform really poorly on the weekend, especially in comparison to players that put on a great display today, then there'll be some questions that need answering. But for now, I still think it's a little bit too soon. But if we are to drop one of the two players, I would very much say that Rashford is more on the chopping block in comparison to a Bruno, because at the end of the day, Bruno for Hannibal is such a drastic improvement in comparison to, you could argue, is Garnacho to Rashford in current form that big of a difference? Probably not. But Bruno streaks ahead of Hannibal, so Bruno gets back into the squad irrespective, and he's our captain at the end of the day. So, I'm going to get into it. Before we even look at the actual players, yeah, bro, Casemiro. Oh, you already know that's the guy who's going to be number one. You know, he was already the man of the match. We already don't even need to deliberate on that one. But before we even get into that, so if you look at the team we fielded, starting at it, of course, people are going to be worried about, Amrabat being at left back potentially. But, nowadays, you fans need to understand that football has evolved to the point that what a player's starting position is not indicative of how they're actually going to be playing in possession. Yes, off the ball, you can see that clearly Amrabat was operating in that left-hand side, obviously filling in for all the injuries we've currently had. But on the ball, with Man United dominating majority of the play, Amrabat was very much inverting into the midfield and he was playing alongside Casemiro. So that's what we like to see. And overall, there was a good performance all around. Everyone really covered themselves in a decent level of glory. No one at all you could say was poor. And when was the last time you could watch a Man United game and genuinely say, yo, every damn player on the pitch played at least a 6 or above today. No one was less than above average or average. No one was less than average. And that's a rarity. Of course, people were worried about the starting lineup. Personally, I was happy when I saw it. I immediately knew that, yo, you know what, yeah? The only player on the pitch that is somewhat questionable, you could say, is Maguire. Outside of Maguire, who are we really that worried about? Yes, Hannibal isn't the best player in the world necessarily. And there's better. We do have Kobe Mainoo to come back. And of course, Bruno to come back. But who in that squad and the team, the first 11 that was put out today, can you genuinely say you don't want on the pitch for us? Ever, under any circumstances, compared to what we saw against Burnley on the weekend. So I was very happy with the lineup. I was very happy with the tactics today. We bossed possession. We did have to grow into the game very much at the start of the match. We were a little bit slow, still a little bit tentative. We weren't really asserting our dominance on the game. But as soon as we started picking up that tempo, getting into the match rhythm, a lot of these players, keep in mind, either coming back from injury or haven't played a lot of minutes this season. As soon as we got back into the rhythm, we completely and utterly dismantled Crystal Palace, and I'm here for it. Man, let me stop punching up these teams. United need to stop punching up these teams because most of these guys come to OT and they be having a field day. They be having fun at our home ground. We need to make it a thing where these teams that are subpar, we make them feel and look subpar. And that's what we did today. And it was amazing to see. Let's put the lineup to one side for a second and let's jump straight into player ratings. So obviously we're going to start with the goalkeeper, Onana. Didn't have much to do, but there were two key moments that he did have to make a save. One was from Mateta and one was from, I think it escapes me now. It may have actually been Mateta with both opportunities. Don't quote me if I'm wrong. But it was Mateta with both opportunities. But he had two decent shots at him. One with his feet, he saved. The other one sort of with his chest. Made good work of it on the ball. Typically, you got your standard Onana composed on the ball. Offered himself an outlet. Couple of long balls clipped into the channels that were on target. Typical Onana performance. Didn't do anything too amazing. Didn't really need to. Couple of saves when he was called upon. Made it without a fault. So Onana gets a steady 6 from me. It was steady today. There were no issues, no qualms. And you know what? Long may that continue. At the end of the day, do Man United want our keeper to be putting up 7s, 8s and 9s? If he is, there's a problem. Either there's a problem or it's a big game and we somehow managed to boss Man City and Onana's just pinging passes everywhere, smothering crosses. That's when you want to have your goalkeeper make the 7, 8s, 9s and 10s performances. But for the most part, you want your goalkeeper every week to be playing a 6. It means he didn't have to do much and your defense, midfield and attack did their job. It's good to see. Moving on now. Jumping on now to Dalot. We'll just get this up. So Dalot now. Dalot, I thought, was very, very good today. He was solid, drove forward with the ball a lot. We all know typically Dalot's a very good ball carrier. He sometimes can be a bit sloppy throughout the season in terms of his passing into midfield, but today was a lot better on the ball, composed. Got an assist for the Garnacho goal, so of course that's another plus in his book. Defensively, nicked the ball off his, I believe his name was Saki, the winger for Crystal Palace. Nicked the ball off him a couple of times. Was solid defensively, but of course the onus in this match was on him to get forward more since we completely monopolised possession, like 70%. So we bopped them off the park. We literally made it a point to get payback on Burnley, and we took out all the frustration from not getting the ball against Burnley on Crystal Palace, and I'm here for it. Dalot was great today, offered a lot, was inverting to midfield very well, controlled the possession well, got the assist. Dalot has to be a 7. Very good performance from Dalot today. Long may that continue, and hopefully if he can replicate the same performance on the weekend, we'll steady it right back. Moving on now. Harold Mag, Lord Farquhar himself. Now, let's actually put agendas to one side, United fans. There will be some people that are probably going to downplay his performance and overly criticize because, let's be serious, he's not the most popular figure, and that's probably me understating it. He's not a popular figure at Manchester United at the moment, so people are going to be moving mad anytime they hear his name or see him on the team sheet. But I knew to myself, at the end of the day, Crystal Palace, their striker they're playing today is Mateta. He's slow, he's big, he's blocky, he's stocky. That's perfect match for Maguire. If you wanted a striker to be the striker coming up against Harry Maguire and you feel somewhat comfortable, it's strikers like Mateta. He's got no pace. He's not going to dribble past you. Not particularly good at shooting, so even if he's able to find half a yard, he's probably not going to beat you and your goalkeeper. He's not so tall and strong. He's not taller and stronger than you, so he's not going to beat you in the air. He literally was vulnerable. Mateta looked vulnerable anytime he was 1v1 versus Maguire. Maguire did his job today. He was good on the ball, actually. Made no mistakes. It was actually a very steady performance for Maguire, and I'm just saying how it is. Of course, I wanted him out like probably all you lot did, but he was steady today. I can't hate. I'm not going to hate, innit? So Maguire, I'm actually going to give him a solid 6 today. Did his job, above average performance, didn't have too much to do again because we monopolized the ball, so he wasn't put into many defensive situations, but any of the couple scenarios he was put into, dealt with it well, played the ball out very well too, so top. Well done Maguire, innit? Next man, Varane. So good to see Varane back in the starting lineup. captained the side today. We looked steady, we looked assured, we looked resolute at the back once again. One thing I like about Varane, as much as he's not as pretty on the ball as other players in the squad, he's effective in comparison to a lot of our other centre-backs. He moves the ball quickly, gets the ball, moves it, left foot, right foot. He won't find, those incisive passes like Leach is capable of, or a lot of those crazy lofted balls over the top that maybe a Leach can do, or at times you've seen Lindelof. But where he does beat out a lot of our other centre-backs is keeping it simple and just ticking it off each foot, one touch. Likes to keep it to very few touches, Varane. He understands and he knows that he's not, the second coming of Beckenbauer on the ball. So he keeps it very simple, and he's effective and he's accurate with his passing. Anything defensively, typical Varane, steady, mopped it all up. So Varane, again, solid performance. Didn't have too much to do, hence we dominated them. So you can actually retain the 6 from what you saw before. We just go on to now the next player, which is going to be Garnacho. Operated on the left wing. Garnacho was steady today. A couple of times he actually lost out on a few of his duels with his fullback, which wasn't the best to see. It was an okay doing. Nathaniel Klein is an experienced Premier League level centre back. It would have been nice to see a Scouser getting cooked on the left wing, but he did actually manage to contest Garnacho a few times. A few times he got past him. A few times Garnacho got the best of him. What I did like from him today is he shot at the right time, passed at the right time. He worked hard defensively. All the basic principles you want from a winger, he actually did today. Wasn't greedy, was very unselfish, but when he did have the chance to shoot, he took it, and when he had the opportunity in a decent position to get a shot off on goal, finished his food. How many times have Man United been struggling with actually finishing our food? Up until the flurry of attacks we had at the last part of the game and we got a lot more shots on target, there's a point where the stat popped up and we had 4 shots on target and scored 3 goals. When was the last time we could say that Man United had a 75% conversion rate with our shots on target? Very rare to see. Good to see him back in the starting lineup. And honestly speaking, Rashford better watch out, because the way he's been operating recently, if he's not careful, Garnacho is breathing down man's neck, Garnacho is breathing down Rashford's neck if he's not careful. So I want to see Ten Hag not being so, reluctant to potentially bring him on. If Rashford, who will most definitely be back in the starting lineup on the weekend, if Rashford is not pulling up trees, not pulling up his big boy pants, and he's like, I need to step up. If he doesn't step up in that weekend game, I want to see him off nice and quick. 50th, 60th minute, even at halftime, if it's that bad, off, Garnacho comes on. Because if he's going to perform like he did today, and maybe even step up on the weekend, he deserves to potentially get a run in this team if Rashford is going to continue dropping stinkers. And that's just how the game should be. So Garnacho today, again, I'd like to give him a solid 6 as well. Because I do, actually, you know what? Because he hasn't played in a while, I'll actually bump it to 7. He hasn't played in a while, and he actually did come in and perform against an experienced right back in Klein. Got the goal, didn't make a lot of mistakes. I'll give him a 7, you know what? I'm just hyping the thing, and then we pumped Crystal Palace. When was the last time we did that? I'll take it, man. Next man, Casemiro, midfield general. That's my guy, Cassino. He was far and away man of the match. At the end of the game, when they pulled up all the stats, what did you see? Boom, 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 boom. First for everything. Goals, assists, interceptions, touches, passes in the final third. Absolute clinic he dropped today. The minute I saw him in that position in the sort of right-hand half space, about to put that ball into the back post or into the central area, I knew for a fact we were getting a great goal-scoring opportunity, because I've seen routinely in this team from Casemiro his ability to put that ball in. So when the ball is laid up to him and he sort of opens up his body and then curls it from that right-hand half space. I've seen him numerous times since he's been at Man United put in amazing crosses from similar positions to that. So the minute I saw him there, I only knew great things were coming. And Martial with a great finish on the back post. If I'm giving Dallo and their man there a 7 for this performance, Casemiro for me was an 8 for sure. Solid 8. Some may even push it higher. Am I being a bit unfair to him? Would some of you lot say 9 or more? I'm giving him personally the 8 out of 10. But if you guys think higher, it's up to you, innit? But he's far and away my man of the match, and I'm sure most of you guys would agree. Moving on now to the next player. is going to be Amrabat. So Amrabat had his debut today. Came on, played at left back, but like I said, you guys need to relax. Positional fluidity. He was able to move from that sort of left-hand space, transition into midfield, and, you know, hold that position in midfield and form that box alongside, you know, Mount, Hannibal, and with Cass. Just a couple of times his passing was a bit wayward, but what he did show was his ability. He was very comfortable on the ball, the ability to actually drive with the ball. Some of his long passing was very good. I do feel like some of his short passing game was slightly overhit at times. I feel like he fired the ball into someone, like he was testing someone's touch a little bit with some of his passing. So, you know, obviously he hasn't played a lot of football. In fact, he's played no football. Need to see some more from him. I was happy with what I saw today. The main thing being the fact that the guy can actually move. This is someone that is not going to be a liability when we play against any team, let alone the bigger teams. Someone that can be trusted in possession. You can see that the players were very happy to give him the ball, especially the centre-backs. And he did not hide. It was so beautiful to see a midfielder, unlike McTominay, who did not hide in that midfield. He would constantly find space where he's moving out towards the left-hand side, moving out towards the right, moving in between players, constantly moving around so that we always had someone to pass to. The centre-backs weren't looking for options, similar to against Burnley, when they were literally praying, looking up, and praying, hoping someone would make an angle for them to pass, but McTominay's hiding behind players or hiding behind Casemiro. It was lovely to see midfielders who were happy to drop into space and receive the ball, and he was one of them. I give him an 8 today. Slightly above average performance, nothing too crazy. I'm sure there'll be much more to come, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing him when he's going into the match rhythm, and especially in the big games. That's where I think players like him tend to come to life. Next player we're going to look at, Pellistri. I believe Pellistri actually grew into the game. There were moments where I do think Pellistri could have done a little bit better, and he got bullied off the ball at times a little bit too easily. Of course, he was instrumental in that first goal we scored, in terms of bringing the ball down. He had the composure to find Dalot. Dalot with a great touch, took him to space. The rest is history. Into Garnacho finish. Couple of great turns. Very unselfish. Willing runner. Track back defensively. Very neat and tidy in congested areas, because Crystal Palace were very compact, especially in that second half when they were obviously on damage control, didn't want to concede more goals. At times I saw up to maybe 8 players just in the 18-yard box. Was very difficult to find space, but even then, him and Van der Beek and Hoyland were able to sort of find some room to maneuver. A couple of passes in between the lines, they were able to play to each other. So Pellistri, it wasn't a fantastic performance, and whether he's made enough of a claim to potentially be starting, that's yet to be seen. But was it better than some of the crap we've seen from other wingers at the club this season? I would say yeah. Pellistri was good today still. We still need to see more. I'm still very much in the phase of analysing more from Pellistri. I think there's levels to still go up with this player, but I wouldn't go as far as a lot of the overrating I'm seeing from certain players. Pellistri, I'd go for a 6 today. I'm happy with a 6. Whatever you guys think in the chat, let me know. But I think 6 is steady for him. And I do think he's going to grow into a decent player. It's up for grabs that right-hand side. Him and Garnacho, but you man fight it out. Mount. This was by far and away Mount's best performance for Man United. It's not even close. Mount was genuinely, at times, very good today. Genuinely. Put all bias aside, a lot of United fans did not want him when he first came to the club. They had their reservations. Felt like we wasn't worth the money. What's Ten Hag doing? Is this guy insane? That's what they're thinking about the manager. But genuinely speaking, Mount actually was good today. He was involved in loads of the play. Wasn't hiding. Sometimes in the early games, maybe when he was lower on confidence, it seemed like he was kind of hiding. Like if you looked at his touches in some of the earlier games in the season I played, like the Tottenham game, his touches were so few and far between. He barely got on the ball for Man United. But this match, he got on the ball loads. You saw flicks. You saw him driving with the ball, passing between the lines. He was involved in the early goals we scored with a lot of great shows of passing. He got an assist for the Casemiro header goal on the corner. Mount was genuinely good today, and if it was just based on the first half performance alone, and of course he went off at half time, I would have actually given him man of the match, if not for, of course, Casemiro playing the entirety of the game and going on to be far and away man of the match. Genuinely speaking, even though he only played the first half, Mount was definitely a 7. Mount was good today. He got the number 7 on his back, and I'm going to give him a number 7 overall. He was good. Yes, Flayed Tampa Bruno. I see you in the chat, Ronnie. Make sure you like and sub in the chat, anyone that's come through. Got loads going on at the channel here. Next player I'm going to look at, Hannibal. Look at his, bro, this guy's hair's covering the thing. The hell? Anyway, so Hannibal today. Hannibal was, I can describe him. He was solid. I'd call him just solid. I wouldn't go as far as to say he was nowhere. If I was to rate him now, I'd give him a 6. No one was below a 6 for me today. They all did their jobs. They all worked hard. They all showed me something. The first time in a while, the United players have showed us something, genuinely. I liked his performance today from Hannibal in terms of he pressed quite well. He obviously covered a lot of ground. He helped track the runners. The only thing I had an issue with him, which is the same thing as Burnley, was on the ball. I still believe he's a little bit too passive and he was a little bit too safe. There was a lot of opportunities for him to give line-breaking passes. I'm thinking, yo, play the pass, bro. Doesn't do it. A lot of chances for him to maybe playing Palestri on the width, play Palestri and on the wide, and he doesn't play it. He instead decides to retreat back and give the ball backwards or sideways. There's a little bit too much backwards and sideways passing for me, which I'm surprised about because during the youth setup, he actually appeared more of a player that had some flair to him. He was more an offensive as opposed to just a player that runs around. So I'm still yet to see him impose himself a little bit more in the game, offer some passing lanes. I also need to see a bit more from that from Hannibal, his ability to move the ball forward. But I think when that comes, we may get more out of the player. Was it amazing from him today? No. But did he work tirelessly? Yes. Only thing I would say about his performance though is I'm so glad Ten Hag took this guy off because I could smell it. He is a walking red card, but I hope with experience this guy calms down. Ronaldo needs to get this guy and say, calma, calma, calma. Because right now, I'm thinking the guy is always looks like he's on the verge of getting a red card. It's good to play with passion, but the guy needs to chill out, man. Next player we're looking at is Martial. Martial, ice cold Tony, you know. Tony came back and had a little renaissance. I was hoping and praying his little cameo against Bayern was going to be a precursor for how he's going to perform coming back from these injuries. He looks sharp. He looks fitter than he has in a long time. He actually looks like he can move his body now. Of course, we've been able to see his hold of play, his crisp passing. That's all still there. But Martial actually looks like his body isn't necessarily broken anymore. Of course, we're not seeing the explosive pace anymore. I reckon that's probably just gone. We may never see that explosive pace again. But he actually looks mobile again. We saw him pressing, holding the ball up. His finish was great at the back post. Great ball from Casemiro and great goal. Actually didn't even really clock the goal until I sort of saw him going off to celebrate because I was surprised he scored from that angle because it was such a great finish. So Martial today, I think he staked his claim as real competition for Højlund. What I would say is Højlund's actually in a situation where because Martial is so injury prone and he needs to be covered in bubble wrap, irrespective of how well Martial performs, and even if he outperforms Højlund, which is possible, Højlund will definitely still get loads of game time because there's no chance in hell Ten Hag is going to be playing this guy for 90 minutes 3 times a week. It's not happening. So Højlund, lucky boy, you can rest assured you get plenty of game time, which is actually good for his development. It's good for Martial's retained fitness. I'd actually rather it be that way because we're going to need both of them. Because I can assure you, all United fans, you do not want Marcus Rashford back at striker. Do not want that. So I'll take the Højlund and Rashford rotations. I think that's going to see us good for this season if they can both stay fit. Martial today, most definitely 7. Next player we're going to look at is Højlund himself. He wasn't on for too long. Couple of good touches here and there. It wasn't anything stunning when he came on, but I liked his performance at times. He showed his strength. Obviously battled. Would have been nice if he was able to get a decent chance created for him so he could actually, test his shot. I still need to see more from Højlund. I need to see him in more goal-scoring situations so, of course, all us fans can assess his ability in front of goal, because we have seen already some of his link-up play, his strength in the air, his ability to hold off a man. But now I need to see his variation finishes. Can he chip the keepers? Can he go around keepers? Can he curl it past them? Can he fire it top corner, low and hard in the bottom corners? We need to see all these things. So hopefully we can get more games where we see Højlund actually get chances made for him, so we can analyze all this stuff. So Højlund came on, didn't have much to do. It's a flat 5. Not because he was poor, just an average performance, because he wasn't on for very long. That's not an indictment on him. Last player, Linda. Linda came on, he's actually very good. Very good. Although he came on, and he was on for about maybe half an hour. He was 63. He wishes. Linda was a 6 for me. Steady performance, solid. Anything defensive. Obviously, we all know he can play centre back and right back. He was able to do a job on left back. He looked comfy. Didn't really struggle playing out from the back. Got forward quite well actually, and he was even inverting into midfield. Was funnily enough, like, looked very confident, very assured. Strike for that chance he had was very good as well. Linda, I actually enjoyed his performance today. It was good to see him, playing with freedom. And one thing I loved about this match was just seeing all the players with smiles on their faces, almost to some extent putting to bed a lot of these rumors, a lot of these stories that the guys weren't happy. They want to be there. Dressing room was divided. They want to see Ten Hag out. They're against the manager. All these stories from the detractors that have been perpetuated with no real truth. Literally, some fans who are already Ten Hag out, literally praying for the downfall of our manager, and almost not just claiming and pushing those narratives that have been this dressing room unrest. Not just pushing it, but praying for it. There's mandem in our fan base that literally want those rumors to be true. So I literally keep talking about it to will it into existence, because they know that if the players are against him, then it means that the manager's on death's doorstep. Obviously, just, not realistically speaking. We know what I'm talking about, innit? But yeah, thank goodness it looks like those rumors aren't true, because everyone played with a smile on their face. Everyone celebrated it. Every single goal was celebrated it like it was the first goal they ever scored. And that's lovely to see that these players haven't thrown this guy under the bus. And my prediction still stands true. And I'll say it again, that Man United will have an amazing second half of the season. That's my match reaction. In the comment section below, predictions for the following game at the OT again against Crystal Palace on the weekend. Predictions for that. Give me your man of the match also in the comment section. And also, like, comment, sub. This channel going on to bigger and better things. Trying to hit 60 subs by the end of the weekend. Peace out, people.